What's up, millennials? How are we doing today? So before we begin with this series, I would like to ask you a question, okay? And that question is, what would you like to see in these YouTube videos? Is there anything specific that you would like to learn more about? Is it maybe stock research or technical analysis or cryptocurrencies, money management, what kind of mindset you should have while investing? Anything you can think about. Just let me know in the comments so that I can understand exactly what kind of things you're interested in, and that way you can also help me on my mission to help other millennials manage their money better. All right, I would appreciate that a lot. Thank you. All right, so let's get started. This video is going to be part of a little series for beginners who are interested in investing but don't really know how to or why they even should be investing. So in this series, we're going to talk about why you should not invest, why you should invest, how you can invest, and also what kind of mindset you should have. In this video, I'll explain to you what you can do when you don't have enough money to invest just yet. Okay, but before I do so, I would like to remind you that I am not a financial advisor. All right, this is not going to be any specific financial advice for you, because the thing is, your situation is going to be very different from my situation, all right? All the topics that I'm going to talk about in this series could be a good starting point for you. It could be information that you could use to start thinking about projects or thinking about topics like money management and investing, but it's not financial advice. Cool, let's start. So often when I ask people why they aren't investing their hard-earned money just yet, then I get the answer, well, I don't have a lot of money to invest. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what you can do to actually get more money so that you can start investing. And I'll also try to make clear that you don't actually need as much money as you think you do. Okay, so if you think that you don't have enough money to invest just yet, then my question to you is why? Why do you think so? Because I basically believe that you either have an income problem or an expenses problem or both. What is it? Let's first talk about your income. Just think for a few seconds about why you don't have enough money to invest just yet. Is it maybe that you're still studying and you're not earning any income, or are you working on a job that's not paying you a lot of money? What is it? Let me just fire a few questions at you. If you already have a job, well, do you think that you could get a higher salary somehow? Or could you maybe renegotiate your current contract? Could you get a higher position that's paid any better? Could you work a few more hours every week and get paid a little bit more that way? Or could you maybe just try a side business, for example? Because whether you've already got a job or you're still studying or you just aren't working yet, a side business could be a very good idea to get some additional income. And it doesn't have to get you like thousands of dollars each month either, right? You can also go for a few $100s each month and then start investing with that. Let's just take a look at a compound interest calculator to see how much money you could earn with investing if you just started out with $100 a month. Okay, so here we have a compound interest calculator, which is on my website, ninsami.com/calculator. And let's say, well, we don't have any money to invest just yet, so our initial investment is going to be 0. Let's say for the annual interest rate, we're going to go for about 8%, which is quite average in general if you're just investing in an ETF, for example, which we're going to talk about later in this series. The annual inflation rate is usually, well, let's say about 1.5%, so let's do that. Years of growth, let's say we're like, well, 28 years, for example, and we're going to retire when we're 68 years old, so that's about 40 years. And then our investment, as we talked about, is going to be $100 each month. And then as we can see, the future value of that portfolio when you retire at 68 is going to be $212,000, which is already super great, right? Your total investment, so out of pocket, is going to be $48,000, and you're going to have earned $164,000 worth. That's not bad, right? So even with $100 a month, you could already have a very nice portfolio when you retire. So back to that side business that we were talking about earlier, because we all have quite a lot of spare time in general. And many of us use that spare time to play video games or watch like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones for the third time. But what if you would use some of those hours every week to get some additional income? What if you would work in a bar for a few hours a week, or like mow someone's lawn or go to garage sales? What if you could earn like $50 a week and invest that in the stock market? That could already turn into a beautiful portfolio when you retire. And I think that your future self would definitely thank you for that. Okay, so in conclusion about income, what can you do to get some additional income that you could start investing with? Okay, so when you have thought about that, when you have thought about your income, then let's take a look at your expenses. Okay, let me just fire a few more questions at you. Do you know, for example, how much you're spending each month? Do you know how much you're spending on fixed expenses like rent or electricity or the internet? Do you know how much you're spending on groceries, for example? And do you know how much you're spending on restaurants and drinks and clothes and other things that you don't actually need? Well, if you don't, then it might be a good idea to start tracking your income and expenses so that you know exactly how much money you earn and what you earn that money with, and also how much money you're spending and what you're spending your hard-earned money on. So let me just show you for a second how I do that, how I track my income and my expenses, okay? This is a very simple Excel sheet that I've been using for about, 8 years now. And it's super straightforward. I just have pretty much 5 columns. I've got one column over here, which is on the left, the A column, when. Then I've got where, what. Then I've got my income over here and my expenses over here. I'll create a template based on this exact Excel sheet, and I'll share it with you on my website so that you can actually download it. I'll put the link in the description so that you can download it right away and use it. So as I've said, it's super straightforward. What I simply do is I put the date over here in this column. Then right here, I say, well, where did I spend my money? Then what did I spend my money on? How much did I either earn or how much did I spend? And then any comments that I might have about that income or expense. And as you can see, I've been doing this for about 8 years because this was in September 2012, as you can see right over here. And this for me is a very easy way to see, well, how much money do I earn in total? As you can see about here, 8 years ago, it was about 1,100 euros. And how much money do I spend? Which 8 years ago was about 675 euros, right? So then you can easily see as well how much money you've either earned, because, well, in this case, it's going to be money earned because my income was more than my expenses. And the income, or, well, the net income, so to say, is right here, about 430 euros. And I can also track, for example, how much I spend on groceries, because, well, boodschappen is the Dutch word for groceries. So I've added all these expenses up. And my total amount of groceries for that month was about 150 euros. And this way, I can also see what kind of expenses were the most expensive for me, no pun intended. For example, here we can see 275 euros, which was my rent back then. Quite interesting to see, because right now it's about 3.5 times more, but okay. We can also see like groceries. We can see that I bought a book, some comics book. What else do we have? I had to buy a lock for my bike. I probably went out for dinner with some people. We had some kind of party over here. So this way I can easily see where the majority of my money is going to, and I can easily see as well if I could cut back on those expenses. If, for example, I would have had like, I don't know, like 500 euros spent on groceries, then I could say, well, let's try to cut that back and let's make it 200, for example. I really believe that this is the first step to be able to manage your money better and also to invest. So what I'd like to propose to you is that you start doing this as well, that you track all your income and all your expenses and see what you're spending your money on. Do this for like a week or a month or something like that, and then analyze that exact sheet. You could ask yourself some questions just like, are you earning more than you're spending, or is it just the other way around? What are you spending most of your money on? Could you lower your expenses somehow? Could you maybe not go out for dinner 3 times a week, but just once? Could you get cheaper internet? Could you spend less on groceries? So many questions that you could ask yourself and that could lead to you having lower expenses. So take a while to think about these 2 things, your income and your expenses. Is there any way that you could earn more money and spend less money? But don't invest just yet, okay? Because in the next video of this little series, I'm going to talk about the things that you should take into account before you actually start to invest. Also, don't forget about the question that I asked you at the beginning of this video. What would you like to see in these YouTube videos? Just drop your answer in the comments below. I'd appreciate that a lot. See ya!